7,533, a good close is what we are heading towards. About 5-6 minutes remaining for closing, and it's not looking as if there is any selling pressure coming in the market. FIIs, I think, continue to be buyer, and it's largely got to do with the ETF flows. They tend to come in the second half of the trading session towards the close around the 20-25 minutes. Ruchit Jain of Angel Broking is now joining us this afternoon. Ruchit, good afternoon. What's your view on the markets? You think that we are headed towards the 76-7700 mark?
Well, good afternoon, Pankaj. Pankaj, after this recent up move of last 7-8 trading sessions, we are right now trading into a near-term resistance area. If we just recollect, then the December intermediate support, which was around 7550, 7560, was breached during the month of January. Now that support is expected to act as resistance. Along with that resistance zone, we also have 50% retracement resistance of the entire corrective move from 8350 to the low of 68 and sub 6800 levels. So probably there are multiple resistances coming around coming around here at 7550, 7600 range. So we believe that some sort of profit booking could be seen in coming trading sessions. Today, with the positive momentum seen at the closing, we might have a positive opening tomorrow also. But rather, one should now look to book profits on long positions that have been created in last few days and wait for some fresh signals on the index itself. Now, just because the markets are trading at resistance, we are not advising to go short. We don't have any negative signals as of now. It's just the resistance area in which the Nifty is right now trading. So just book profits on the long positions, and one should wait for further triggers for creating any fresh positions in the market.
Right, but on declines, say gap down opening like we had today, you would like to add into add some long positions?
Well, Pankaj, I'll wait for meaningful decline from here to add any sort of long positions. We have seen on the daily chart we have a higher top in formation, and in case Nifty has to continue its uptrend, then basically a higher bottom should be now in place. Now the resistance which was crossed around was around 72, 70, 7300 range. So with a marginal gap down opening, if we get, then I think we should wait. In case if market comes around 7300 again, that could be a good opportunity to enter long. But at current levels, I won't advise to create fresh long positions. We are very close to the resistance zone, so creating any sort of fresh positions, even 50 points low from current levels, would not give a good risk-reward ratio. So one should not create fresh longs. Wait for meaningful decline around 7300. If the market comes in next week, probably, then I think that could be an opportunity again to enter into positions in the market.
Right, Bank Nifty, quickly before we close.
Well, in the Bank Nifty, the view is not that bearish. We have seen that the private sector banks, which constitutes the majority of the heavyweights, are showing some positive momentum, and they are not showing any kind of negative signs. On the higher side, resistance for Bank Nifty is coming around 15,700, where we have previous resistance as well as 89 days of exponential moving average. So we may see some positive momentum continued in near term in Bank Nifty, but around 15,600, 15,700 range, traders should again look to book profits on the long positions in Bank Nifty too.
Right, Ruchit, just stay on with us. Markets are about to close. I'll just come back to you once we have the closing. About 100 seconds or 2 minutes remaining for market to close. Nifty strong. The day's low was 7,426, and we are closing at 7,535. So a more than 110-point recovery from the day's low. Extremely strong in terms of closing, and we've really not looked back after that, hitting that day's low. ITC absolutely flat. Bank of Baroda up about 0.7. Tata Steel up 1.5%. Tata Steel opened at 281 levels, and it's closing in at 296, 1.5% higher. BHEL 1.4% higher, 107. Axis Bank 1% higher. HCL Tech 0.1% higher. Tata Motors 348. Yes Bank up 4%, 791 for Yes Bank. HCL Tech, Ambuja Cement both up 1% each. ONGC up close to 2%. Kane India up 0.4. Cipla down about 1%. Power Grid 1.6% higher. Tech Mahindra up 3%, 464 for Tech Mahindra. Adani Ports down about 1.4. HDFC Limited 1.4% lower. NTPC down about 0.8%. Infosys up 1.2%. Sun Pharma on your screen up 0.4%. Bharti Airtel 1.1% on the higher side. Reliance Industries up about 1.5%. L&T down up closer to about 2.5 to 1220 for that name. BPCL down 2.7, Idea down about 0.4, IndusInd Bank up 1.3%, 933, HDFC Bank up about 1%. Asian Paints as flat as it could get, Z Entertainment 394, Gale really no major movement, Lupin also no major changes. However, Lupin has gone ahead and completed the acquisition of Cavis, so that is something which came in today, but don't really think nobody was expecting that they could complete. On the launch of Breeza, Bharati is up 4%, very high expectation from Breeza is what the street has. Hero MotoCorp a 0.25% higher, Bajaj Auto down 0.6, Dr. Reddy's as flat as it could get. That's the closing bell. Markets have shut 48 points on a provisional basis. Don't really think there'll be a major change of more than 3-4 points for the Nifty. 7,533. That is essentially where we have closed on a provisional basis. ITC flat 320 odd levels. Hindalco down about 2.5. Tata Steel 1.5% higher, 296. PNB up about 1.2, 82 rupees. Axis Bank 1.1% higher, 416. Tata Motors up 0.5, 348. HCL Tech 0.75 rupees higher, just a flat 0.1% higher. Tata Power a 0.25% lower. Yes Bank up about 4%. Ambuja Cements up 1. Yes Bank was the top gainer. We just spoke to Gaurav Visa about it, and he said that towards the weekend, if it can manage to close about 790, it will be positive. Maruti 3,600, 3,596 to be precise. Tech Mahindra was also among the top gainers, up close to 3%. Grasim, L&T, Bosch, ONGC up closer to about 2.5%. L&T 1,218, Bosch up about 2.3, ONGC up 1.9. Hindustan Unilever up 1.9. HUL, I think, was the top loser in the morning. The day's low is 826 and it's closed at 842. Power Grid 1.6% higher. BHEL 107. Ultratech 1.4% higher. Reliance, M&M, IndusInd Bank, PNB up closer to about 1.5%. Tata Steel, Kotak Bank, Infosys, Axis Bank, and the list just goes on for the names that were up closer to about 1% or so. Some of the names on the broader market space, let's just mention about Reliance Infrastructure and the ADAG pack. Reliance Infra was up 6.5%, not exactly at the day's high, but still decently strong, 6.5% higher for Reliance Infrastructure. Crompton and Greaves on the back of a deal. Reliance Capital also from the ADAG pack did well, was up 4.5%. Crompton and Greaves was up 8%. They had a con call as we started the 230 factor. I think they would have given some positive data over there. Maybe that's the reason why it's up 8%. Phoenix Mill 6.5% higher, 306. Bajaj Electricals up 6%. As far as Bajaj Electrical is concerned, Ashok Leyland was up closer to about 6.5%, 97 rupees for Ashok Leyland. RS Software, not that frequently spoken about, 13% higher, 77 rupees for RS Software. So that's another name from the mid-cap space that did about decently well. TT Limited up close to 6%. Tata Elxsi up 6%. HCL Infosystem up closer to about 4.5%. Let's look at some losers as well from the mid-cap space. Quick Heal was down 5%. PC Jewelers was down 4%. Interglobe Aviation, Indigo Airline owners, was down about 5%. Quick Heal, there you go, down about 5%. PC Jewelers down 4%. Interglobe Aviation was down about 5.7%. 810 for Interglobe Aviation. United Breweries Holding was down 4%. Info Edge was down 5%. Mindtree was among the top losers. Mindtree was down close to 11%. We were talking to Ruchit. He's still with us. Ruchit, Mindtree, what is your view over there? After getting X bonus, you think that it will now be slightly under the weather, down 10% today?
Well, overall, if we see the weekly or monthly charts, in spite of stock being down today, the overall trend is still positive. High top, high bottom formation is still in place, and the major support for the stock positionally on long-term charts is now coming around 635, 640. So wait for some more corrective action in near term around 640. The stock would again become an attractive buy where there a major support is placed.
Right. As far as Crompton is concerned, any view on that name? Of course, it has a corporate action coming in on March 16th, March 15th. That is, it's going to get split into two different companies.
Well, Pankaj, I won't trade long. If anyone has to square off this position before the corporate action, definitely taking consideration the corporate action upcoming. If anyone has to trade for next 3-4 trading sessions, we have a resistance coming in around 158, 159, which was a gap down area which was broken on its day when results were announced. So technically there's a resistance over here, and we also have corporate action coming in near term. So I think one should definitely avoid this stock now from trading perspective.
How would you look at Just Dial? Tomorrow the open offer would get completed. You think any view on that? As of now, it has been quite volatile because of the ongoing offer.
Well, the volatility may continue in this stock in near term, but if I broader observe the trend of the stock, then it has continuously been forming this low top low bottom formation. The previous lows which were breached in the month of January has now acted as support yesterday's high. So I don't think the trend has changed still, in spite of the stock giving a recovery from much low, almost doubling from its from the recent low which was made. The overall trend still remains down. I won't suggest anyone buying in this stock, and I think on the lower levels around 500, 550 could again be tested in the next 1 or 2 months.
Right. ADAG pack, let's start with Reliance Infra. Would you be a buyer into this rally? It's looking similar to what it did in the start of December.
Well, I think the opportunity is already gone in this stock from short-term perspective. Overall, we have seen the last 6-7 trading sessions, the stock has moved higher in line with the market's momentum. This is the high beta stock, and of course, it usually moves more than what the index moves. But definitely, since index is now trading around the resistance area, and if we see some corrective action in the index in near term, again up to 7300, then this stock may correct in line with the index also. The lower support base now for the stock is seen around 445, 500 range. So definitely I would wait for some corrective action again along with the index in this stock to create any fresh long positions.
Right. At what level would you look to buy?
I think around 450 the stock has now major support. So if it comes around 450, then only probably I'll look to buy the stock again.
Right. Reliance Capital, what would you view on that? That's a relatively stable stock.
Relatively stable, but more or less the same view. It's more or less the same chart structure what we have seen in the Reliance Infra. So probably now, if we observe, then 29th of Jain high was made around 387 from where the stock price corrected up to 380. So that previous high could act as a resistance around 387 to 390. So it's trading near to that resistance area. Creating fresh buying positions from here does not make sense, as even the risk reward won't be much favorable. So I would wait for some corrective action again in the stock. The recent gap area was created in the stock around 340 levels. So in case if the stock corrects again up to 340, maybe next couple of weeks, then I think that could be an opportunity again to enter longs in this.
Maruti, what will be your call? Closer to 3600 now, up 3.8% today.
If you observe the daily charts of Maruti, then in last week the stock had formed a bullish engulfing pattern. The stock had retraced some of the gains, and today again positive momentum is seen. So some short-term momentum could be seen on the positive side, wherein the resistance for the stock would come around 3700 first resistance, and 3790 would be the second resistance. So probably some short-term positive momentum could continue in coming days in Maruti. The support for the stock is 3440, so one should trade with positive bias. But again, that only would be for a pullback rally around 3790. Any sort of long position should be exited.
Right. How would you look at something like a ONGC or a Cain India, which has been battered after the budget? You think these are names where some sort of short covering or some sort of sharp bounces can be expected?
I think ONGC would consolidate for some time over here. The stock is forming a base around 185, 190. There is a double bottom type of formation on the daily charts in this, but again on the high side, the stock since past couple of months it's finding difficult to cross 220. So 190 to 200 and 220 is the range in which it could form a base now. So probably if anyone is looking for medium to long term investment in this stock, then I think it's a good stock where this accumulation range of 190 to 220 could be used to buy, but not from very short term perspective. Apart from this, K in India, if you observe, then high top, high bottom formation recently has started, the stock has started forming. The stock could see a momentum continuing up to 140 to 143 in next 1 or 2 trading sessions. So any long positions, if there are there, one should continue to hold around 140 to 143. One can look to book profits.
Right. What would you make of something like a LIC Housing Finance, the so-called favorite housing finance companies? You think that they would again start to lead the rally? They have not corrected quite a bit. So something like a LIC Housing Finance, the high has been 520 and it's currently at 470. So just about 10% correction from the highs.
Yeah, Pankaj, the momentum clearly could be positive in this stock. Last 3-4 trading sessions, the stock had consolidated sideways after a positive movement from 390 to 450. And in today's trading session, again, this last 3-4 consolidation high has been breached. So I think some continuation of this up move could come up to 480, 485. The stock could go. So one should trade in the stock with positive bias.
Right. Just a word on Hero MotoCorp. They declare dividend tomorrow. Any sort of expectations? It's a dividend play, so how would you look at that name? It's also run up ahead of this board meet.
Overall chart structure is positive for Hero MotoCorp. We have seen that stock had the stock was trading in a broad range of 2750 to 2350 since last 8 to 10 months. And during last week, the stock had breached that range on the higher side. So when a particular range gets breached on the higher side, definitely that resistance which was there, that converts into support, and exactly that amount of range bound trading is expected to continue with a range shift on the upside. So I'm expecting a positive momentum to continue in this stock. Probably 2950, 3000 could be the levels which the stock could see in near term. Any sort of decline up to 2700, 2750 range, which was a resistance earlier, could now act as a support. And in this range, one can look to enter into the long positions by keeping stop loss below 2625. On the higher side, 50 to 3000 range would be the target area.
Right, Ruchit. Thank you so much for taking out time for us. Always a pleasure talking to you. Just the adjusted close for Nifty, about 110 points recovery from the day's high.